Hey everybody, we are well into earnings season. We've heard reports from some of my favorite companies that I cover a lot, so we're going to talk about PayPal today. Before we do, please take a minute and click subscribe to my channel if you don't already, and check out the link you see on your screen, fool.com/Frankel. You can get the top 10 stocks to buy right now from the Motley Fool. It's the best way to support this work I'm doing on YouTube. Again, fool.com/Frankel. So before we get into the numbers, PayPal's new management team has been busy. If you're not familiar, PayPal essentially got rid of their entire management team last year. They brought in a new CEO named Alex Chriss. He was a former Intuit executive, and he took over in late 2023, and he is the longest tenured member of PayPal's leadership team. So they really just kind of completely revamped the leadership. They wanted to completely throw out their strategy and starting over. And they've been busy. Not only have they been focused on efficiency, but they've made a bunch of different developments. They rolled out their fast lane checkout that is being really well received so far. It's got a few major partnerships, including with competitors like Adyen and Global Payments and Fiserv. So they also have a partnership to offer branded checkout on Shopify in the US. That partnership with Shopify used to only be in France. So that's a pretty big expansion. Shopify is it's the second largest e-commerce platform, only to Amazon in the US. They just launched PayPal Everywhere, which has, in my opinion, the industry's best debit card program. They're doing a lot, and a lot of what they're doing is not in the numbers yet. The efficiency improvements are clearly reflected in the numbers, as we'll get to in just a minute. But as far as the new rollouts, it's going to take time to see if those are actually working with customer engagement. The early results are impressive, but they're not in these numbers we're about to discuss. So real quick, let me share my screen. So if I go to this one, we'll start here. So just a snapshot of the third quarter results. Now, not terribly impressive growth, but when we go through it, you'll see that this actually is pretty strong. 9% growth in total payment volume. That's roughly $1.7 trillion on an annualized basis. From that, their revenue grew by 6%. So margins are down a little bit. Transaction margin 8%. So they're doing pretty well with that. Margins are definitely an area to keep an eye on. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. And here's where the efficiency improvements really come into play. Earnings per share, so the bottom line, up 22% year over year to $1.20 a share. Free cash flow was above $1.4 billion. That's 31% growth over the past year. So very, very impressive with the efficiency improvements. PayPal's doing really, really well right now. I kind of like what I'm seeing from the business. And that 9% revenue growth number is especially impressive when you consider that they've had 1% growth in the number of active accounts. Now, that's definitely nice. Their active user base kind of declined for a while there, but it's still pretty stagnant. They're trying to figure out ways to kind of invigorate that, and we'll see if some of those initiatives that I talked about will do that. But 1% year-over-year growth, monthly active accounts. So they're doing a little bit of a better job engaging their most active users. You see monthly active accounts grew 2% versus 1% for just overall active accounts. The number of payment transactions, here's where it starts to get a little bit interesting. The number of payment transactions is up 6%. The number of transactions per active account was up 9% year over year. So the more engaged users are using the platform more and more. So impressive numbers so far throughout the report. Again, a lot of the recent initiatives aren't totally reflected in the numbers just yet. You can see revenue growth 6% year over year, like I said, transaction margin pretty nice. Nothing to really be concerned about just yet, but that is something to keep an eye on. So especially the excluding interest number, because right now PayPal does make interest, get interest on customer balances. So if you exclude that, because the interest environment isn't expected to stay as high as it is for a while, but you can see the efficiency improvements at work right here. Adjusted operating margin 18.8%. That was almost 2 percentage points better than it was a year ago. So management is really doing a good job of improving efficiency. So that was kind of the first step, was to improve efficiency, and then it was to kind of kick growth into a high gear. Guidance was the same to slightly increased, especially in when it comes to transaction margin for the full year. They were calling for low to mid single digit growth. Now they revised that to mid single digit growth, so that's definitely a positive. Um, you know, adjusted operating expenses, they were calling for a slight increase. Now they're saying low single digit growth. So generally speaking, they have adjusted everything higher, especially with profitability. Uh, Low to mid teens growth before this report, high teens growth now. Um, Bottom line earnings, they narrowed the range. That's a slight increase at the midpoint, but not by much. $6 billion of free cash flow is expected. They're pretty much using all of their free cash flow to repurchase shares, um, which is pretty encouraging. They still think the stock is very cheap. PayPal's share count has declined quite a bit, and if they're right, this is a great use of capital if they can continue to execute on their turnaround strategy. So what I'm watching going forward is, the next report's really going to be the telling one. That's going to be their year-end earnings. That's when we'll get a taste of 2025 guidance, because that guidance I just had on the screen for the full year, we already know what 3/4 of the year the results were. So it doesn't really tell us that much about the future. But next quarter, we'll get the 2025 guidance. PayPal is still a massively profitable business. The market didn't react very positively to this because there really weren't any positive surprises. This was pretty much in line with expectations all around. And if the stock dips, I'm a buyer of it. I think that they are going to continue to turn things around really nicely. I think that PayPal will return to growth. And this was just kind of a 2-year, like post-COVID lull in the user base, and you're going to see adoption start to pick up. And if management keeps doing what it's doing, there could be a very bright future ahead for PayPal. I'd love to know what you think. Please leave me any comments or questions you have. I'll do my best to answer any of them individually. And thanks for listening. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from the popular product Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by nearly 5 times. So go to fool.com/Frankel to get your 10 stock picks now. The Motley Fool Stock Advisor returns are 767% as of July 5th, 2024, and are measured against the S&P 500 returns of 163% as of July 5th, 2024.